Hey guys, Samia here, wedding and portrait photographer based out of Virginia, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about something really fun, which is how to build trust with your couples on a consultation call. So if you're like me and you run a business similar to mine, consultation calls are sometimes with complete strangers who literally know nothing about you, why they should buy from you, or anything like that. And when that's the case, the key element to selling your work there is to building really good trust and getting people to respect that you're an expert, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Okay, so the first thing I want to mention about this is that trust is so important in selling wedding photography because it's a wedding day. I mean, everybody already knows that, but when it comes to documenting this day, the people that you are likely selling to are already coming in with a need for higher trust than most things that they buy in general. So it's not like buying groceries at a grocery store or buying a car. It's a different kind of purchase that really requires a high degree of trust, and that's why it's so important. So how do you build trust? How do you tell a complete stranger why you, who they know nothing about, should be the one to document their wedding? How do you explain this to them? Well, okay, here's the first thing. Okay, so people resonate and respect you a lot more if you educate them on ways that are totally relevant to them. So in other words, I could make myself look like an expert by saying, hi, I'm Samia, I've been published in whatever magazine, and I've been in this newspaper and in this, and whatever. Like, I could list all the reasons why the world thinks that I am the best photographer in the world, and it would mean nothing to them, and it would do nothing to building trust with them because it's not relevant to them unless that couple in particular is interested in getting their photos published in a magazine. That doesn't do anything for them to showing them why you should document their wedding. So in other words, show them what you've done that is impressive to them and what they need, and not so much all the publicity and all the things that you might think are making you look like an expert, but really to them, they're not. Okay, so I have other YouTube videos on how to go about having a consultation call, but because this one is just about trust, I'm talking about the aspects of this call that are going to boost that feeling that they can trust you. Okay, so I want to just talk about this concept of a reverse sale. It's not really a reverse sale, but that's what I'm calling it because that's how I think of it. So when you go into a consultation, you know that you want to book this couple 8 hours, 10 hours, whatever packages you have. But what I would recommend doing is they're likely going to ask you, okay, what do people usually book? And every time they ask, what do people usually do? Or, okay, what's next? Or anytime they ask questions, I want you to flip it and tailor it to them. So if they say, what do people usually do? You could say something like, well, usually it's 8x hours, but let's talk about your day. Where are you getting married? Let's see how many hours you need. So in other words, you're indirectly saying, I don't need your cookie cutter booking. I want to know how I can serve you best. And do that with everything. So, well, where do people usually do a first look? Well, hold on, let's talk about, do you guys want a first look? Do you guys understand a first look? Let me explain this to you in how it would look on your day. You're getting married at the church, so where could we do a first look? We could do a first look here, we could do a first look there. So in other words, every time they ask a question or you get to that part where you're trying to come up with a proposal, keep flipping it back to them and their day and what would serve them best. So if they say, I'm getting married at I'm getting ready at this hotel, and you know something about that hotel, say, okay, well, if you guys wanted to do a first look, I actually know a fountain nearby that hotel that would be perfect. You are the expert in their eyes for that specific day with them. And it's totally opposite from saying, yeah, we do a lot of first looks. Usually they're in the shade, usually they're in an alley. All of that is irrelevant. It's all about them. Okay, so then this goes into the same way that you're going to introduce your pricing. So I introduce my pricing on the phone, on the consultation with them, and before we get to the packages part, I actually go through a sample timeline of 8 hours, and I start talking to them about if theirs would be more like 6 hours or 10 hours or what they would need. So in order to sell 8, 10, 12 hours or whatever you're trying to book, you need to prove that you have made them feel like they need 8, 10, 12 hours, and you actually need to figure out whether or not they need whatever it is you're saying. So what I do with the couple is I actually go through and draft a drafted timeline for them for photography, and I say on the phone, it doesn't feel right for me to quote you 8 hours without us making this timeline together, because I don't know what I would be doing for 8 hours. So by you simply saying that sentence, you're taking that pressure off of, I don't need this for the money. I'm just making sure that you have the hours you need, that I know what I'm going to be doing before I can quote you for what it is I want to quote you for. So go into that with every single part of the wedding day that has come up naturally. So we've drafted a timeline together, we've established whether or not first look is a good idea, a bad idea. So really talk to them and get them envisioning that day with you before you get into pricing. That's gonna build a lot of trust in a lot of different areas. Also, the second thing that you can do, as I mentioned in the beginning, is to start to solve their problems that no one else is paying attention to or cares about. Okay, so in order to solve problems, you have to know how to solve them and then know how to ask about them too. So the first thing is I always say this with consultations, you have to really understand the market and understand what's going on. So on average, by my understanding of this industry, people book photography 2 or 3 months after they book the venue. So when I'm on a consultation call and I say, oh, you guys picked such and such, that's awesome, like when did you book the venue? And they say 8 months ago. I know from my expertise in this industry, that's kind of a long time ago for them to be just now looking for a photographer. So in my head, I'm like, okay, they've maybe struggled finding a photographer. Maybe they're just slower on the planning curve. Maybe they're not excited about photography, or maybe they've been extremely disappointed in every photographer they've talked to, or something is a little strange there. So from my understanding of the industry, I'm able to ask the question, oh, okay, you guys booked the venue, that long ago. Have you been looking for a photographer, or, what's going on? So it naturally, because of my understanding of the industry, I can ask questions to try to pull out their pain points and figure out what's going on. And people will trust you so much more when they know that this is not your first wedding. You know that is a little long. So just by them having that realization that, oh, she knows it's been taking us forever to find a photographer, they already are going to see you as someone who understands what's going on in the big realm of things. And usually when that's the case, they'll say, yeah, we've had 3 or 4 consultations with photographers, and they keep whatever their reasons are, and then when they tell you, anytime they deliver that pain point to you, immediately solve their problem. So for example, I had this exact situation happen, and the couple, I said, okay, what's going on? And the couple said, well, we had our engagement photos done and we didn't like them. And usually an engagement is booked, you book the engagement, you book the wedding with the photographer. So I'm like, oh, okay, so are they, are you not looking to book your wedding with them? I mean, obviously not, because we're on a consultation call, but I need to understand why they didn't like those engagement photos. So I said, I literally said on the consultation call, send me the link. Tell me about this. What did you not like about this? And solve that problem. And they ended up not liking the lighting and things like that. But you see what I'm saying? Like, find that problem and say, okay, this is how you need to shoot at this time of day if that's the look you're going for. Or you didn't like your outfit, okay, you need to wear a different outfit. Let's talk about your outfits. Like, you guys get what I'm saying. Just completely pull those problems out and completely solve them. Okay guys, I know this video is a little bit rambly, but building trust is kind of like, there's an art to it. It's not totally a science, but I know that by talking about your expertise in a way that serves them the most and pulling out their problems and solving them, I've been able to really get that feeling of trust. Like, I'm comfortable pitching a proposal, and I'm a little bit more confident that they see that it fits their needs and that we feel like a match when I've done these things to build trust on these calls. So let me know in the comments if this was helpful at all, if you do anything differently. I make 2 new videos here every week on YouTube, so if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, and I will see you here on YouTube later this week.